My job today is to show you the power of the Forex market. I'm coming to you live from the Market Traders Institute. I'm in Lake Mary, Florida. There's 150 trainers and traders right here, and this is what we do for a living. We train Forex traders. We've been doing it since 1994. We've got about 30,000 worldwide students. Now, what's a student? It's somebody like you, came to a webinar, came to a website, came to a meeting that said, hey, can you show me how to do that? And the reason we are as successful as we are is because we're able to pull that off. And we do it not just by imparting knowledge, because I think knowledge is great. I think you're here today to gain some knowledge without a doubt. But when you net it all out, results are what matter, and usually those results come in the form of trading profit. All right? That means when you look at your trading account, you see a bigger balance at the end of the month than you saw at the beginning of the month. And when that happens to you, a fun thing usually occurs. You usually tell somebody about your experience, or they're interested enough to ask you, hey, nice car, what are you doing? Well, I'm trading with the guys over at Market Traders Institute. And you end up telling them, they join, they get results, and they tell 2 people, 3 people, and it kind of blooms from there. And that's why we've got ourselves in the latest issue of Inc. magazine. We are actually named one of the Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies in the world. We're mentioned in the same breath now, which is kind of fun, as Microsoft and GoPro and Timberland, because our growth is so phenomenal. But really, business growth comes with one thing, comes with happy customers. Who's our customer? You are. All right? You're the person that goes to the webinar. You're the person that gathers the trading data and information, the action steps. You're the person that's going to get the results so that you can make sure we're in next year's Inc. magazine. Now, who's the head of our operation and how did we start? I think it's important just to give you a little background. This will give a few more people a chance to kind of get into the webinar as our group continues to grow here just past 1 o'clock. But it'll also let you know who is the sponsor of the message. Market Traders Institute was started by Josh Martinez. Some of you might recognize him from the business channels, Bloomberg, CNBC, Fox Business. Whenever there's a Forex conversation, usually he's the guy they talk to. They've nicknamed him the Chief, the Forex Chief. Right? Here's a guy who's had a ton of success, results, trading in the Forex market. He's considered the expert. Now, about 20 years ago, he was getting approached by people like you who said, hey, you're doing this well. Can you show me how to do it? And the nice guy in him, of course, said, yeah, let me give you a little background on what I'm doing. All right? Let me give you some information. Let me go ahead and write a book so that you can have all the information in one place and read it on your own time. And what he ended up doing was writing a best-selling book. But what ended up happening was he didn't satisfy the market in terms of curiosity. What the book ended up doing was creating a movement of people that didn't just want to read, but wanted to take the next step and do stuff live. Thanks for the information, but in order to get me moving, to get me motivated, to get me results, can I just go ahead and trade alongside you? With that idea in mind, the Chief created this organization, the Market Traders Institute. He trained traders. He brought traders in who knew what was happening, what was going on, how to get results. And now, instead of just giving the information, we let you trade live alongside of us. Right? There's no better way to pick up success than from people who have it, have had it, or are having it. So when you get involved with a group like ours, that's really the name of the game. It's live. It's hands-on. And at the end of the day, it is 100% results-oriented. When you're getting results, guess what? Your belief tends to get bigger, okay? If it's just about academics, well, what do you believe, really? Not much. But when you're getting results, and that meets your expectation, not only are you pleased, but you tend to tell some more people. Now, I need to know, now that you know about us, I need to know about the several hundred of you that are joining me today worldwide. What we're going to do real quick is put the webinar tools to the test. I want you to enter an answer in the box to the following little question. All right, I want to find out where you stand. So if you're brand new, do me a favor. In the chat box, I want you to type the number 1. This is my first presentation, maybe my second one. I don't have an account opened. I've never traded a currency before. I'm brand spanking new. Now, if you're a number 2, that means you've got a little bit of experience. What you're doing is you've got maybe a practice account opened at one of the brokers. Pretty easy to do. If you don't have one opened yet, I'll show you how to do it. It'll be very quick. You've got a little bit of experience. You've gained a little bit of knowledge, but you don't have any real money on the table yet. So if you're a number 2, I want you to go ahead and type that in the box. And the last of you, just again, so I can find out who you are, if you're trading some real money, type a number 3 in the box. So you're either going to be a 1, a 2, or a 3. Go ahead and type your answer in the box to tell me who you are. I'm going to get a sip of water real quick. What I have is a pretty big mix of all 3 of you. Some of you are brand new. Some of you have some real money. Here's what the goal of my presentation is. It's for all of you to be able to take the next logical step forward when it comes to your trading. If you're brand new, I don't want you to be brand new anymore. All right? You have this idea of what can be done in the Forex market. My job is to push you forward on that path. If you're a number 2 and you've got a practice account, my job is to give you enough information to push you forward. Okay, so that you can be trading some real money and doing it successfully. And if you're a number 3, you're trading some real money, here's what I know. You're not here by mistake. You're not going to waste your time in the middle of the day to hear some different presentations unless there's results you think you should or could be getting that you are not getting. It's like the balloon in the wind that you're grabbing at, but it just doesn't quite reach your grasp. I'm here to tell you that you can grab that balloon, and we're going to let that thing take you to the next level of results and success. So no matter who you are, you're in the right place. And in about 60 minutes, I'm going to run through the Forex market to get all of us on the same page. I'm going to get everybody prepared to do what I said earlier. All right? You want to get good trading results, you got to mirror and match the people that are getting them. I'm going to prepare you today with a strong foundation so that you are prepared to trade alongside the best. I'm going to ask you to leave whatever you know right now at the door. All right? I want you to understand, I'm going to build you a little bit of a foundation here today, but it's going to be strong enough for you to be able to reach up and trade with our group. And I'm going to show you how to do all this stuff that's risk-free to you. All right, so you're not going to have to worry about your hard-earned dough. Everything I show you today, everything I present, every opportunity I give you is all going to be done on a risk-free basis. All right, I'll be able to back up what it is I say with a real strong, positive message, and everything we do is going to be risk-free. So let's all take a deep breath. Let me introduce myself real quick. Will already told you my name. I'm Joe Cavallaro. I have been trading markets since I graduated from college in 1994. This is how I have made my living. Places I used to work at, they wrote books about it. All right. The fact is, I worked on the Toronto Exchange, the Australia Exchange. I used to work at 2 World Trade Center. I've got every license there is, both as a trader, as a prop trader, commodities, options, futures, foreign currency. I'm also a principal. I've run 3 trading desks. I've taught traders how to trade, whether they're new people, whether they're experienced people. At the end of the day, I'm the guy that's in there, all right, teaching and developing traders. So if that's what you're looking for, you kind of come to the right place. Now, why do they have me delivering the message? Well, number 1 is because I asked to. Because when it comes to new people especially, that's the person that I want to be able to talk to be able to impart, to be able to establish with. You know why? More often than not, they don't return my information with some of their own and try to outsmart me, because that gets annoying. It's the broke person that tries to outsmart you. It's the smart person that has their ears open, ready for new information. And instead of defending the turf of information that isn't getting them results, they're prepared to at least hear the new stuff that just might take them to a new level. So I asked to show up at this workshop because that's where my strong suit is. Give me the person that's young, hungry, ready to go, young not in age but in their experience, and let me impart some information to them so they are ready to go when they come to our trading room. Now, the other reason I like to give this presentation is this. I know the difference between the markets. Having traded stocks, millions of shares, options. I was an options principal, commodities, futures, and Forex. I'm here to tell you, in the group of 5, if I had to choose only one, and I have, I trade this market because it gives me as a trader every available advantage. If I had a blank sheet of paper, this is the market I would draw up. It gives me every available advantage. It's a market that gives me characteristics that I'm looking for so that I can always have upside opportunity but protect my downside against risk. And if I can put those things together and on top of it, not have to come to the table with a lot of trading capital, well, to me, there's no better set of criteria. Well, the Forex meets all of them. So if it came down to you choosing which market you wanted to trade in, this is the market you would choose. Why? Number one, it's super liquid. All right? It is a liquid market. What does that mean? What you need to know is that it's a bigger market than all the other markets put together. A liquid market is one you can get into when you want to and out of when you need to, and at a price that's predictable. Now, I'm talking a little fast, so I want to make sure you understand. There's a lot of good information for me to give. You better have a pen and a piece of paper. Liquid markets are ones you can get into when you want to and out of when you need to, and at a price that's predictable. If I have a liquid market, it lowers my risk. Stock markets aren't liquid. Why not? Because they open and close. They're open at 9, they close at 4. During the time they're closed, the market's not liquid. There's not enough players for me to buy from or sell to. So suddenly price is not quite as predictable. In this market, just know this. It's the biggest market in the world. There's the most players, and it trades through every price. Now, why else am I a Forex fan? Leverage. Write it down. This market gives me a ton of bang for my buck. I don't have to bring a lot of money to the table to create a lot of action. Why? Well, I'm going to have an account with a broker that gives me leverage. I'll explain that part to you in a little bit. For now, just understand, you get a lot of bang for your buck. And you can trade this market round the clock. It's open from Sunday at 5 until Friday at 4. Round the clock means no matter what you do, who you are, or where you live in the world, there's going to be an opportunity for you to trade in this market and do it live and liquid and with leverage. Low capital requirement. You don't have to bring a lot of money to the table in order to make a lot of noise. Write this down. If you have $200 in trading capital, that's about all you need to get started. And that's not money that you're going to pay out as a commitment. That's money that's going to be yours to trade with. If you've got $2,000, that's about all the money you'll probably ever need in terms of your own capital to bring to the table. Stock market to buy. What are you going to buy with $200 in the stock market? 1 share of Apple. In this market, that's all you'll need to make a whole lot of noise. And it's easy to understand. So for all my number ones, for all my brand new people, all right, I want you to understand that you probably know more about this market than you think you do. For my veterans, my 2s and 3s, just bear with me. I'm going to take everybody through a quick example, and then we'll go ahead and get into some of the more serious information. For right now, I want you to do me a quick favor. I'm not sure we're all connected. I'm not sure that I can see you on my chat screen. So do me a favor. If you can hear me, type yes in your chat box so I can make sure that we're connected, because at the moment, I don't think we are. Help me out. I'll type you a message. Let me see if you get it. I'm typing the word test. I don't know if you're seeing me. That's going to make it kind of hard for us to chat, and I want us to be able to. Let me see if I can click another button here to figure this one out. Bear with me. This will be worth your while as long as I can make this happen. I hear I'm coming through loud and clear, and I hear that everyone's responding. I just can't see your chat, and I want to, because if you're going to ask a question, I want to be able to answer it in real time. So give me just this second to make this happen. Can you see the questions box? I see the chat box. Where's the questions box? Let's see if I can view it. Nope. Look under view at the top of the thing. Attendees, audience view, chat, handouts, and webcam. Help me out. View tab at the top. Go to questions. Make sure it is checked. View tab at the top. Go to questions. Make sure it is checked. And if I said there was no such button, I'd be bumming. All right, I don't want to keep everybody waiting for this thing to happen, so I'm just going to go through it. Meantime, what can I say? I'll work with Will to make sure that I get your questions so that I can answer them. But the bottom line is this. I'm better at trading than I am at this webinar stuff, so bear with me. Because here's what you need to know. When it comes to trading the Forex, it doesn't matter who you are. All right? It doesn't matter where you work or how much money you're making today. I don't care about that stuff. I don't care where you went to school. All right? What you need to know about trading is it's the only place where if you're a truck driver, you can be on a level playing field with a doctor. Because the trading markets don't care about any of that stuff. Trading is about making some dough. So if you're not in a position right now at your current job or your vocation to make, I don't know, $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month or $50,000 a month, guess what? You found a place where that can happen. All right? I'm not talking about what you're doing now. I'm actually talking about what you are about to do. And when you open an account, maybe with a couple $100, start trading some currencies, all right? You're going to chalk up a few wins, working alongside your mentor. Maybe you're just taking the trades that they're taking as you're learning. You're earning as you're learning, all right? Understand how to make some money in a way that makes sense, but in a way that, like I said, is going to protect your upside and your downside. I'm here to tell you, when that starts happening, it's going to change the way you think about money and the way you think about yourself and your ability to make it. All right? So it doesn't matter who you are. The fact is, you found the right place if you're looking for opportunity. Here's a guy, John, who came to us on the back end of his working career. And he said, you know, I don't want to take a step down from where I'm at income-wise when I retire. I don't want to sell my house and get something smaller. I don't want to sell my Cadillac and get a used car. I want to live good, but I know that I'm going to need to do something to fill in that gap. And the fact is, I don't want to go work at the retail store, and I certainly, I'm a little too old to go learn that new thing at college. So what do? And the chief sat him down and said, look, I get it. I can teach you how to trade. You don't have to know everything right away. You can learn as you go, but we'll get you started. Now, John trades from home. He's not throwing around bricks and digging ditches. He's clicking his mouse. He's trading from a platform that works at his kitchen table, and he's been able to learn as he went. Now, here's a guy who kind of was doing the same thing. He came to us saying, look, I want to learn how to make some money. I want to put some extra in my pocket, even though I want to keep my day job. Well, results are what impressed him. That's why he's smiling. He tripled his initial investment in about 6 months. Now, I don't care if you start with $300 and you triple it. Well, now you got $1,200, most of which is the house's money. So if you take your original $300 off the table, guess what? It didn't cost you anything to trade the Forex at that point. You build on a couple of wins, you get to the point where you're trading a little bit of the earnings that you've made, and all of a sudden you're thinking about trading and money a little bit differently. And we do most of the work. We'll tell you when to get in, when to get out, how to protect yourself, and how this whole thing works. So eventually you don't have to be tethered to me or any of the other traders. You're out there on your own, doing it yourself, killing it. Okay? Here's a guy that's working with us. He's working with Josh, one of our traders. Thanks, man. I'm working with you. Made me some money this week. I appreciate your help. Thank you for letting me be a part of the group. Now, who's Josh Martinez? First name I want you to write down. First name I want you to write down is Josh Martinez. Now, who's this? Well, if you asked me who he was 4 years ago, I would have told you he's a guy that's a personal trainer down at LA Fitness, okay? Making a living, but he's there all the time. Now, he's in shape, but you know what a personal trainer does. It's a person that has a clientele, and they make a living, okay? But he wanted to do different. He had just gotten married. His car was falling apart, wanted to buy himself a house, and he said, man, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do that here. He had about like $500 in his pocket. Well, what did he do? Well, when he was brand new to this trading thing, he went to the chief and said, can you show me how to do this? Now, the chief didn't just throw books at him or some software, right, and say, here you go, good luck, buy when it's green, sell when it's red, right, buy low, sell high, and all the, right? He didn't do that to him. The chief said, I'm going to teach you how to do this. Just keep showing up. All right, you might not get it all at first, but I'll fill in the blanks for you as we go. Just watch and listen and do what I do, and the results are going to speak for themselves. Long story short, Josh took $500, and doing what the chief told him and taught him how to do, he turned it into 39 grand. At which point the chief said, all right, that's it. I got a ton of people coming in here that want to do what you just did. Now it's your turn to show them. You're not the student anymore. Now you're going to be the teacher. Okay? People were banging down the door to get from the chief what he just gave to Josh. Well, now it's Josh's turn to give some back. Long story short, Josh is now our lead teacher, our lead analyst. He just got on a plane to go out to Vegas to the money show, not to be an attendee, but to be one of the presenters. Okay? Josh is the lead teacher, lead analyst. He's the best there is. I want you to write down his name because you're going to have an opportunity to trade side by side with him. I'm going to show you his results. When you see him, you're going to say to yourself, well, why wouldn't I be doing that? Now, ask yourself this question, and I'll keep it simple, but I want you to be engaged and have some fun with this. If he could show you how to turn your $500 into $39,000, would that be something you're interested in finding a little more out about? Yes or no? Type a yes in the box if you're interested to find out how to do that. Because I'm here to tell you that's not anything that's uncommon. All right? When it comes to trading, everybody starts with a little bit of money. Some people borrow it from their parents. Some people scrape it together. Some people go sell something that they own to put a couple of $100s together. Almost all traders start the same way. I was broke when I graduated from college. All right? You should have seen my car. The fact of the matter, though, is I scraped a little money together, found my way to the American Stock Exchange, right? Just about begged to do whatever it was I could do to get my foot in the door. And once I was in there, did I run for people's coffee? Yes, I did. Did I run to pick up traders dry cleaning? Yes, I did. But it was all with the idea that I could be in and around this thing. All right? You want to make some money, you want to go where the money is. The fact of the matter is, where you start is where you start. Everybody who makes it in trading starts with a little. So if that's you and you're interested in finding out how to do it, let's do it. Now this little screen says, no trade results are typical. That's true, right? It says you shouldn't trade with money that you're not willing to lose. That's true too. And trading is not going to be for everybody. It says you got to make sure you're suitable to trade. Well, who's suitable to take a loss in this room? Nobody. I get it. Okay? But if you want to open the door of opportunity for yourself, where you can make yourself $10,000, $20,000, or $50,000 a month, this is how you do it. You got to start somewhere. And I'm cognizant of that. And I tell you about Josh for a reason. He started June the 5th, 2011 with $500. It's what you're going to be doing this week when you open your trading account. Making a deposit, $200, $300, $500, whatever it is. But the point is to get you to fast forward to the point where you're taking out $4,000 or $3,000 or $10,000 a day. Okay? That's where I want to get you to. Be like Melissa. Work with Josh. Thanks, Josh. Working with you, making some money. Did that today. Okay? Here's a guy that started working with Josh, worked with him for an hour, made $500. I've been a student for one day, made my first profit, love it. That's what I want you to do. All right? Here's my question. Put an answer in the box, yes or no. Do you believe you can make money trading currencies? It's a yes or no question. It's an easy one. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. I just want to get your brain turned on so you're thinking. Do you believe you can make money trading currencies? Yes or no? All right, then the screen blows up. Everybody says yes, right? How much do you think you can make? Now we're going to put a number to it because you've thought about this. You're not here wasting your time because this is just an educational exercise. You've already thought about this. How much do you want to make or how much do you need to make? Let's say on a monthly basis. What do you want to make? How much do you believe you can make trading currency? $5,000 a month. Okay. 10 grand? 20. Well, then here's the answer. Here's the answer to making that happen. I got to get you into an environment where that belief, which is really an idea at this point, actually becomes a belief so that you can turn it into a reality. Listen, when I was running coffee at the American Stock Exchange, there was guys that were 5 years older than me that were making $1 million a year. You understand that? And when you're around 30, 40, 50 people like that every day, and you see that it can happen every day, it leads you to believe that you can do it. Why do we buy or sell houses? Because we all know somebody who did it and made some money doing it. So we figure money can be made that way. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've got to get you to the point where you're in a room that you can see it happening with your own eyes, and then you get to the point where you believe you can do it too. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, say yes. Type that in the box. All right? My job today is to give you enough information so you can make this decision. If I do my job well, you're going to be comfortable with this whole thing. You'll be comfortable talking like a currency trader. All right? You'll be able to take that step forward I was talking about. We're going to have some fun. All right? I'm going to move along pretty quickly. And at that point, when I'm done, you're going to have enough information to be ready to step in. All right? I'm going to show you how to crash the party here. Have some fun of your own. Trade alongside Josh Martinez. Get the results you're looking for. And do it risk-free to you financially. Here we go. Let's do a currency trade, our first one. Couldn't be easier. Okay? Anybody that's been traveling, anybody that's gone to a foreign country, all right, if you're European, you do this all the time. You're a Southeast Asian, you do this all the time. Here in the States, if you live in New York, you go to Canada or you go to Mexico. Okay? If you've ever been traveling, you've done currency trading. You see these little booths at the bus station or at the airport. Currency exchange booth. Right? That is familiar to you. What happens? Well, you say to yourself, I've got my home currency in my pocket. I want to trade it out. I want to exchange it for the country's currency that I'm going to be visiting. So let's say I go from New York to Niagara Falls. I'm going from the U.S. to Canada. I walk up to the currency booth. First thing I do is see what's today's exchange rate. Let's say, for example, it's at 1.325. Well, I know then that for every dollar I have in my pocket, U.S. dollar, I can exchange it for 1.325 Canadian. Simple. Okay? Every one of the dollars in my pocket is going to buy of Canadian, 1.325 Canadian dollars. So if I pull $1,000 US out of my pocket so that I can go traveling into Canada, I'm going to sell those dollars to the person at the exchange booth. I'm going to sell her my US dollars. And with them, I'm going to buy Canadian dollars at the going rate of exchange. So 1,000 US dollars equals 1,325 Canadian dollars. Now, if that makes sense, just type a yes in the box so I can keep going. This couldn't be any easier. Everybody says yes. Okay, good. Yeah, it's just like going to a store and buying stuff. But in this case, you're taking your money out and you're buying a currency, selling your dollars, buying the other one. You've now done a currency trade. All right, let's say you go into Niagara Falls for the day. You spend a little time in Niagara Falls. It's a beautiful day. You're breathing the air. You take a nice walk, right? You go look at one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's awesome. And day turns into afternoon, you lose track of time just about. And you realize, well, now it's time for me to go back home. Well, guess what? You've got to exchange your money back out again because those Canadian dollars aren't going to do you much good once you hit the States. So you go back to that currency booth and you remember what the exchange rate was in the morning, but when you check it in the afternoon, you see that it's fluctuated a little bit. You spent part of the day in Canada. While you were there, you didn't spend any money. But while you were there, other people around the world were doing business. Banks were doing business, etc. Currency rates were fluctuating every second of the day. In this case, the rate fluctuated from 1.325 to 1.311. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean a lot to you. You just want to do what? Sell back your Canadian, buy US, and go home. Well, at that rate of exchange, here's my question. If you sell back your Canadian dollars, at that rate of exchange, what comes back to you in US dollars? Take a minute. I'm going to get a sip of water. I started the day with 1,000 US dollars, and I sold them. I bought Canadian dollars and went and hung out in Canada for a while. I came back. The currency rate moved about a penny. I just want to get rid of this Canadian. What comes back to me? I did the exchange rate calculation for you. When you give back your Canadian, the person behind the booth passes back to you at the proper rate of exchange 1,010 US dollars. Now here's my question. Before you take your 1,010 and stick it back in your pocket, where'd that $10 come from? Where'd that extra $10 come from? Go ahead and type your answer if you know it. You started with 1,000. All you did was exchange some money. Where'd the other $10 come from? You got it. The rate of exchange. Okay? You profited from a fluctuation in the exchange rate. That extra $10 was the result of that small movement in the rate of exchange. Now, some of you aren't real impressed with a $10 profit. Big deal. I made 1%. Well, you made 1% in a day, which is more than you make in a year on your checking account. So at least we've gotten a little better than that. And if you make 1% a day every day of the year, you end the year with a 365% return. And I don't know too many stockbrokers who can even talk about numbers like that. Okay, 365%. Oh, maybe we can get you 8. Well, I don't want to talk about little numbers anymore. I want to talk about having some fun. And here's where the real fun begins in the Forex. I told you before, Forex is leveraged. It's a leveraged market. It's actually leveraged at 50 to 1. What you need to know is that that leverage also leverages your profit. So on this same trade, simple trade, one that you don't have to go to Canada to do, you can actually do it right from your kitchen table. But on this same trade, instead of making $10 for doing nothing much more complicated than clicking your mouse, because of the power of leverage, that trade was worth $500. Now, you don't have to know what I did. All I need to know from you is if you can make $500 in a day on 1,000 invested, would that at least be worth looking into? Because when somebody showed me this for the first time, I'm like, I have no idea what you just did, but that number looks pretty good to me. Well, if that's you, stay with me, because this is the power of the Forex market. And I already told you, I'm going to tell you everything. All right? I'm going to show you not just how to make money like that, but also how to protect your downside so you can stay in the game. All right? Stay in the game and keep on doing this. $500 a day is $2,500 a week. That's $10,000 a month. Traders don't think of that as a big deal, right? If you showed some of the traders I know $10,000 in the month, they would say, "What happened, dude? How are you going to pay your bills?" Right? This is what it's about. This is the opportunity we're talking about. It's a $4 trillion a day opportunity. It's bigger than all the world markets that are put together, right? It's bigger than all the other world markets put together. And it used to be for banks only, right? 1973 is about when the currency market was established. It used to be a banks only market, and it was a profit machine for them, right? Bank of America last year, I think, made $2.5 billion net profit. That's one bank in one country. $2.5 billion net trading the Forex. Now, if you haven't heard of the Forex before, that doesn't surprise me. It's only because the banks kind of did that by design. They kind of kept this thing under their hat. All right, for about 25 years, the banks who were trading this for big money were able to keep it a secret from you and I. Now, because of what's called the Commodities Modernization Act, write it down, the year 2000. Individuals can now trade this market. So it's relatively new. So if you think you missed the boat, you haven't. It's just that when it comes to the banks, the secret's out. They know how to make money doing this. We're going to follow their lead and do the same thing. $4 trillion a day goes through here. It is a liquid market. And because it's liquid, that lowers your risk. You can get in when you want. You can get out when you need. At a price you see, it's a lower risk venture. It's liquid. Very important. When's it open? 24 hours a day. I already told you that. 6 days a week. So Sunday at 5 until Friday at 4 Eastern time. You get Saturday off. Saturday is when we do most of our analysis, right? When we're not here chasing after different opportunities, different moving trains. We're doing our analysis, getting set up for Monday morning, right? Monday morning being 3 a.m. Markets open round the clock. On the day off, we do a little work. And on Monday, we'll tell you what that is so you're ready to trade the rest of the week. Now, what are you going to be trading? This is easy to understand. In stocks, you have to know 50,000 stock issues. What's the symbol for Facebook? FB. What's the symbol for Apple? AAPL. What's it trading at? And then, right, how many of those do you need to learn? 40,000 stocks or options? In this market, you need to know 6 currency pairs. 6. You already did one of them. That's the Canadian. USD CAD, that's the Canadian currency pair. Okay? The one on the left is always called the base. The one on the right is always called the cross. There's the euro. There's the pound and the yen. There's the Swiss and the Australian. 6 major currency pairs. 90% of the trades you do are going to go through these 6 currencies. So write them down. The dollar, or excuse me, the Canadian dollar, the euro, the pound, the yen, the Swiss, and the Australian. Told you this was easy. Every time you see a currency, it's going to be followed with a number. That's the exchange rate. We already did one of these. The euro, US, 1.1132. Well, how do you read that? Left to right. 1 euro buys 1.1132 US dollars at that rate of exchange. Simple. Simple. Exchange rates are always quoted in dollars and cents. Dollars and cents. We're used to that. But as traders, you need to come a little bit further out past the decimal point to these last 2. These last 2 are not dollars or cents. They are what we call pips. Dividing the price into hundredths of a penny. Pips stands for price interest point. As traders, we're looking to capture pips, movements in the currency rate at the 3rd and 4th decimal place. So far, so good. If you've got all this, go ahead and type a yes in the box, just so I know you're paying attention. A couple of hundred of you here, and I just want to make sure that we're on the same page, because we're going to keep moving. Everybody. All right. How's it all work? Well, let's say you have the euro-US currency pair, and it's trading at 1.1132. That means for every euro you have, it'll buy a little over $1 US. Great. let's say the euro is strong in value. That day the European markets are up, right? There's a lot of positive things happening in Europe. The euro is going to be strong that day. Well, it's going to be strong relative to the dollar. If that's the case, if the euro goes up, the exchange rate will go up along with it. So as the euro goes up, let's say the exchange rate goes from 1.1182 or 32 to 1.1182. Well, that's a movement of 50 pips. Write it down. Okay, 50 pips. Exchange rate goes up. Well, wouldn't I want to own that euro thing? Yes. If you bought the euro low and it moved up, you'd be able to sell it high. See how simple this is? Well, what are you going to be trading? You'll trade lots of currency. What's a lot? Write it down. One lot controls $100,000 worth of currency. One lot controls $100,000. Now, do you have to bring big denominations to trade this market? In the old days, yes. Today, no. In the old days, if you wanted to trade alongside the banks, you'd have to bring big numbers, 100,000 at a time. But today, because of leverage, you only have to bring a little to the table, and the broker you work with provides the rest. The broker you work with provides the rest. So, for example, if you brought $2,000 to the table, the broker you're working with would match that 50 to 1, would multiply your 2,000 by 50. Well, that equals 100,000, and that means you can trade a lot of currency, a single lot, L-O-T. Pretty simple? Well, why do they do that? What do you mean? Well, you said I have to work with a broker. Who should I work with? I'll get to that in a minute. What you need to know is it's the broker that provides the leverage. Now, why do they do that? Because they're kind and generous? Because they're good people that want to help you? No. There's a reason that brokers provide the leverage. It's so they can capture what's called the spread. Write it down. For providing you leverage, the broker you work with is going to charge you a little bit, a couple of those pips. All right, depending on the currency you trade, in that major group, they'll charge you between 1 to 3 pips to provide you the leverage. So it's like a toll, it's like a fee, it's like a commission if you want to call it that. But here's the thing, you got to pay that. If you want the leverage, you got to pay the toll, 1 to 3 pips on your trade. So, a lot of information, let's put it all together. I told you this was pretty simple. If you are trading the euro and you bought it, and it moved up in value, 50 pips, that was our example, and you are trading one lot of currency, well, that's worth 100,000. 2,000 of it is yours. Okay? That's your investment. But if the euro moves in your direction, you buy low, sell high, and you capture 50 pips times 100,000, how much do you make? There's that $500 again. Okay? Which means that each of those pips is worth $10. Write it down. All right, if I'm trading a lot, each pip is worth $10. My investment is $2,000. Hey Joe, I like the number. 500 bucks on 2,000 invested for a half a penny move? Correct. Well, that looks great. That's 40%. How often does it happen? It's a good question. How often do these moves happen? Are you just a seminar guy that gives me the best example? Or does this happen regularly enough that it's something that I can think about capturing on a daily basis? Here's the answer. It happens in every currency every day. Every single currency every single day. That opportunity is available. And not just 50 pips. Look at the year.